The Sorties world presents Pinocchio, a bedtime story with moral hello kids. Ready for a magical adventure? Today, we'll tell you the story of Pinocchio, a wooden puppet who dreamed of becoming a real boy. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind old woodcarver named Geppetto. He spent his days crafting toys and wooden figures, but deep down, he felt lonely. One day, he carved a cheerful puppet and named him Pinocchio. Geppetto looked at the puppet and wished, "I wish you were a real boy." That night, a beautiful fairy appeared and, seeing Geppetto's kind heart, brought Pinocchio to life. The puppet blinked and shouted, "I'm alive!" Geppetto was amazed the next morning. His puppet could talk, move, and laugh. The fairy told Pinocchio, "You may become a real boy someday, but only if you prove you are brave, truthful, and kind." Pinocchio was curious and playful. He dreamed of being a real boy and exploring the world. But he was also naive and often made mistakes. He didn't always listen to advice, and sometimes chose fun over responsibility. One day, a sly fox and a clever cat tricked him into burying his gold coins to grow a money tree. Of course, it was a lie, and they stole his coins. Pinocchio was heartbroken, but every mistake taught him something new. Though he got into trouble, Pinocchio wasn't bad. He had a good heart, but needed to learn right from wrong. He wanted to make Geppetto proud and become a real boy, but it would take time, choices, and lessons. The fairy watched over Pinocchio like a gentle guide. She reminded him that being honest, brave, and kind were the keys to becoming real. One of the most magical and famous things about Pinocchio was his nose. Every time he lied, it grew longer. When he fibbed, his nose stretched out and he felt embarrassed. The fairy would explain, "Lying leads to trouble. Always be honest." Pinocchio began to understand that telling the truth might be hard, but it was always the right thing to do. Adventures and challenges. Pinocchio had many adventures, some fun, others scary. He met people who tried to trick him, like the fox and the cat. In another adventure, a puppet master locked him up, wanting to use him for shows. But Pinocchio used his cleverness and escaped. Then came the land of toys, a place where boys could play all day and never work or study. It sounded perfect, so Pinocchio joined. But the fun turned into a nightmare when boys started turning into donkeys. Pinocchio was shocked and scared. He finally realized that shortcuts and bad choices led to big problems. Every adventure made him wiser and helped him grow. The biggest challenge came when Geppetto went searching for Pinocchio and was swallowed by a giant whale. Pinocchio didn't hesitate. He dove into the sea to save his father. Inside the whale, he found Geppetto and came up with a smart plan. Together, they escaped and returned home safely. This act of bravery and love showed just how much Pinocchio had grown. He wasn't the same mischievous puppet anymore. He had learned to be selfless and brave. Seeing Pinocchio's growth, the fairy appeared once more. "You have proven yourself," she said. With a wave of her wand, she turned Pinocchio into a real boy. Pinocchio and Geppetto were overjoyed. They hugged, laughed, and lived happily together from that day on. The morale Pinocchio's story teaches us that honesty, courage, and kindness are the keys to becoming the best version of ourselves. Mistakes help us learn, and love helps us grow. The end, dear kids. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next magical adventure.